Hello dear students, today we'll solve paper 4 extended October-November 2024. This question number 1a, a rocket has initial mass 7.4 times 10 power 6 kg, calculate the weight. So this is 1 mark, so no need to write the steps. You know that W is equal to mg, so in IGCSE G is always equal to 10. So whenever you multiply this number with 10 power 1, so this will become 10 power 7. So write as it is, 10 power 6 will become 10 power 7. It will be Newton because the unit of the weight is Newton. Define in words the term weight. You know that again the 1 mark question, so no need to write in detail. Just write the gravitational pull, or you can define the gravitational force acting on the object is called weight. Next question. The graph show the speed time graph. The rocket leave the ground and travel into the space. So this is the graph, and this is vertical is the speed and horizontal is the time in second. So describe the motion of the rocket from 0 to A and from 0 to A to B, sorry. So from 0 to A, you can see that the line is increasing. So speed is increasing with time. So what is that? Increasing acceleration. Increasing because speed is increasing with time. So increasing acceleration. And from A to B, you can see that the line is not straight. The speed is changing, slightly changing with the time. So it is a constant acceleration, not a curved line. It's a straight line. So it is a constant acceleration or uniform acceleration. Cartesian at time 400 second and use this, calculate the acceleration of the rocket at this time, show your working. So we know that acceleration is equal to change in speed over change in time. Like, and in speed time graph, the acceleration is a gradient. And we know that how to solve the gradient, change in y divided by change in x-axis. You can see that this is a 400 second and tangential line is always start from the line which just touch the curve from a point. So it's approximately 200. And when I will see, this may be not accurate because I didn't draw the exact line. So let's suppose the time is approximately 500. So 500 minus 200 is time is 300 second. And the speed is, how much speed is changed? 7100 minus 0. So 7100 divided by 300. The answer may be vary from 14 to 23. Okay. The next question is, the rocket are used to launch satellite into space. When the satellite is released, the rocket return to the Earth. Explained in terms of force why the rocket reached the terminal velocity as it traveled through the atmosphere back to the Earth. Terminal velocity is the maximum constant velocity. Due to air resistance or drag force, uh, speed will decrease. Speed of rocket will decrease when it will go back. Speed, and that is called terminal velocity because net force will be zero. Net force zero, and that speed is called terminal velocity. No need to write these things, just write due to air resistance, 1 mark, and rocket move with constant speed because net force is zero. Figure 2.1 show a golfer about the hit a golf with a golf club. The initial momentum of the golf ball is zero. Initial momentum. It's why? Because the golf ball is at rest. So what is momentum? 1 mark question. The product of mass and velocity is called momentum. The next is the golf club in contact with the ball for, this is the time. the velocity of the ball as it leaves. We will get the impulse. What is impulse? Impulse is when a force acts on an object for a very short time. It's called impulse. And that impulse is equal to change in momentum. So change in momentum, final momentum minus initial momentum. There is a initial velocity was 0. So the final velocity is 41 meters per second. So the mass is 0.4046 kg times velocity is 41 meters per second. After multiplying this, we will get 1.9. The force is equal to, by that equation, change in momentum over change in time. Why? Because we know that, again, impulse is equal to change in momentum, that is equal to force times time. So we need to calculate the force. So time will be go that side. So force is equal to change in momentum. Change in momentum we just found it. Divide by, what was the time? 5 times 10 power minus 4. After calculating this, we will get the answer, that is 3,800. What is the unit of the force? That is Newton. Question number 3. State two energy resources for which radiations from the sun is the main source of energy. Wind, solar energy. Oh, there are many. I'm writing waves, hydroelectric. A wind turbine is used to generate electricity. The useful output from the turbine in 1 second is 6,000 joules. It's the output energy, and this is time. And the kinetic energy of the wind is hitting the turbine in 1 second is 11,000 joules. That was input energy. Why? The kinetic energy of the wind hitting the turbine. So that is input energy. The velocity of the wind hitting the turbine, the velocity of the turbine is 6.3 meters per second. Show that the mass of air hitting the turbine each second is approximately 550 kg. So we have to prove that mass is 550 kg. Kinetic energy, that is equal to 1 by 2 mass times square of speed. Here we have the kinetic energy, 11,000. We have the we have the velocity, and we need to find the mass. Very easy, just make the subject m. So that will be equal to 2 times kinetic energy. 2 times kinetic energy divided by square of speed. Just putting the values, 2 times 11,000 divided by 6.3 square. And you, after calculating this, you will get the answer, that should be nearly equal to 550, but my answer is 554 kilograms, which is calculate the efficiency of the turbine. You know that what is the efficiency? Efficiency is always output over input. Useful output energy divided by input energy, and output energy always less than the input energy. Some students confuse which one is output, which one is input. Output can never be greater than the input. So obviously 6,000 is less than 11,000. So 6,000 is output energy and 11,000 is input energy. Whenever you solve this, you will get 55% efficiency. Tidal energy and wind energy are both renewable energy resources which can be reused again and again, which cannot be vanished. So just one reason why tidal energy is more useful energy than the wind energy. Ignore the cost, construction and maintenance. Tidal energy is very reliable. Sometimes we cannot get wind properly, so tidal energy is more reliable. So you get 7 marks for this question. 4.1, show a pressure cooker on an electric heating element. There is a water inside the cooker, electric heating element, and tight fitting lid, sealed cooker. So the pressure cooker is half full of water. As the water is heating, some water evaporate before the water boil. Describe two differences between the evaporation and boiling. And these differences are given in your book. Boiling take place at specific temperature, or you can write 100 degrees Celsius, while evaporation takes place takes place at any temperature. Just writing it short because there is no yes. Okay, as the water is heated, the pressure of the gas inside the cooker increase. Obviously, the particles will collide with each other. They will get the energy, and the pressure is increased. Explain this increase in the pressure in terms of particles, and this is the most common question asked in the many papers. The number of gas particles increase when the water is heated. When the gas is heated, the particles get the kinetic energy, they move very fast and they collide with the containers, and they put the pressure, exert the pressure on each other. So there are many points you can write. Explain why the surface temperature of thermic increase. So you know that black color is a good absorber and the white color is a good reflector. So when the black color absorb the radiations, its temperature is increased. So air above the black color get hot. So the temperature is increased. The next question, the state the method of the thermal energy of for thermic of the air immediately above the road. So that is what is that called? That is called conduction, because there are three ways to transfer of heat within the matter, the heat transfer due to conduction. So that is called conduction. Another is convection and radiations. So next question is state main method of thermal energy transfer of air immediately above the ground, above the road to the rest of air. So in the fluid, air or liquid, the actual movement of particles due to convection. So this is a second method to transfer of heat. D part, explain why the surface temperature of thermic is higher than the surrounding air temperature. Volume of the road is very large, so you can write very large volume. This is a second point you can write. A student plays the violin near the doorway to a large room. Figure 6.1 show a young teacher standing where he can hear the sound but he cannot see the students. So this is the X. So you know that the properties of waves, sound waves, there is a reflection, a refraction, and diffraction. So state the wave effect that allows a young teacher to hear the sound from the violin at the position of the stand. He's standing, he cannot see him, but he can hear the sound. Why? Because of diffraction. Because the sound wave will expand from these sharp edges. So you will just write the name of the effect, that is diffraction. Calculate the frequency of the sound with the wavelength of. So this is wavelength in meters. The speed of the sound is 340 meter per second. What is the frequency? We know that the famous wave equation, speed is equal to frequency times wavelength. So we need to find the frequency. The wavelength will divide with the speed. So the speed is 340 meters per second and wavelength is 0.75. After dividing, you will get 450, and unit is missing. I told you units are very important, so that is hertz. A violin produces a sound of frequency is 200 to 3800 hertz. The width of the open doorway is 0.75. Explain why the young teacher hear the frequency calculated in this one 450 hertz clearly, but find a frequency 3500 much harder to hear. So let's suppose the gap size is 0.75. When the wavefronts are coming to the doorway, they will expand. What is the condition to be maximum diffraction? The size of the wavelength should be similar to the size of the gap. So in first case, size of wavelength is similar to size of gap. But when the frequency is so high, you know that frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional to each other. So for high frequency, the wavelength will be decreased. For smaller wavelength, gap will be large. So it will be less diffract. When the less diffract, he have difficult difficulty to hear that sound. Question number 7. I will start from here. A washing machine has an electric motor and electric heater, showing the simplified circuit diagram of washing machine. First of all, you can see that the components, the battery, ammeter, and this is a symbol of heater, and M for motor, and this is a parallel circuit. The heater has a resistance of 25 ohms and 230 voltage across it. First of all, state what is the meaning of EMF, electromotive force. So 2 marks question, so you need to write 2 points. So first of all, you will write what is EMF. The battery do the work on the unit charge. So this is for 1 mark. Sometimes they ask 1 mark questions and sometimes they ask 2 mark questions. So work done on unit charge. First point, and basically battery provide the energy to the unit charge, and unit charge move throughout the circuit. Throughout the circuit. So this is the EMF, and you can also mention EMF is equal to work done per unit charge for 1 mark for first point. So these are 2 points. Make sure you have to write 2 points. Next is state the potential difference across the heater. So you can see that this is parallel circuit, and what are the properties of parallel circuit? The current is divided and the voltage are same. So the voltage are 230 voltage. So the total voltage of the circuit will be 230 volt because the voltage are the same. But current is divided. That's why current will be different in the heater. So according to Ohm's law, we know that the current is equal to, first of all, the main equation is V is equal to IR and current is equal to V over R. By putting the values, we know that V is 230 and the resistance of the heater is given, that is I guess 25, and by using the calculator you get 9.2 ampere. There is no unit, so there is a half mark for the unit, so you must write the unit as well. So next question is, the current in the motor is 1.6 in the motor. Make sure this is the current 9.2 in the heater and the motor is 1.6. Determine the reading of on the ammeter and explain your answer. Obviously, you can see that the current is being divided. So we don't know the total current, but we know the current of the heater, that is 9.2, and the current of the motor is 1.6. Obviously, we will add them. So when we add both currents, so how will explain it? 1.6 plus 9.2, 10.8, 10.8 ampere. This is the ammeter reading. Next, why? Because we know that current is divided. So the total current is the sum of the current of the total branches. So total current is sum of current of each path, because the parallel circuit have more than one path to flow of the current. So this is the complete answer. Next question is question number A. A fisherman uses high frequency sound wave to locate the fish in the sea. Basically, this technique is sonar, SONAR, sound navigation and ranging system. When we find the depth of the sea, or we want to locate something. So this is seabed and this is water. State the name of the sound wave which have the frequency greater than 20k hertz. So we know that the human audible frequency is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. More than it, it's ultrasound, and less than it is infrasound. So it's about more than it, so it's ultrasound. Just write ultrasound, no need to write complete answer because it's 1 mark. So high frequency of the sound wave travel from the boat throughout the sea water. The speed of the water is 1,500 meters per second and seabed is 22 meters. So calculate the time taken to both receive the reflected wave from the seabed after sound is emitted. So first of all, you can see that you will use the formula, that is, what is that? uh, distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. So, but the distance traveled will be double because uh, they ask the total time when the wave sent and reflect back. So we will use two-sided distance. One side distance is 22. So the total distance 22 times 2. That will be 44 meters. So we will calculate the time. We know that the main equation is distance equal to speed multiplied by time, and time will be equal to distance over speed. So distance is 44 meters, and the speed is given 1500. That will be equal to 0.029 seconds. Again, the unit is missing, so you have to write the unit of the time. So this is the answer. So C part, figure show a fish below a boat. So you can see the fish. So the sound wave will reflect from the fish, and we can get the image from the ultrasound. Describe and explain how the reflected sound wave received by the boat from the fish difference from the reflected sound wave received by the seabed. So reflected waves always weaker because it lose the energy. So when the wave after the reflection it lose energy, so its wavelength, sorry, the amplitude will be decreased. So actually the reflected, so the image will get on the board will be the smaller because the amplitude will be decreased. So what we write when they get the image, the apparent image, that is the fish image of fish after reflection is smaller. Why? Because after reflection amplitude amplitude of wave is decreased. Ultrasound waves or sound waves wave is decreased. That's why the apparent image will be smaller. Okay, next question. Question number 9. So, figure 9.1, a wireless charging plates use a battery in the mobile phone. Cell phone nowadays, we are having the phone and there is a coil behind the mobile phone. So the coil is wired a part of electric current. We know that this is electromagnetism. When the current will pass through the coil, it will behave a magnet, that is called electromagnet. So the charging plate is connected with AC power supply. Why it is AC? Because it should be alternating current. Magnetic field should be changed. If we use DC, it will not work. So the power supply is turned on. Describe the magnetic field around the charging plate in terms of its magnitude and direction. So obviously the AC current, the magnitude of or magnitude will be changed, direction will be changed at every single point. We know that the frequency of AC is 50 hertz or 60 hertz, so it will change 60 or 50 times per second. So what we'll write here, right? You can write here magnitude of magnetic field continuously change. Why? There is AC current. Continuously change. Obviously, we will talk about the magnitude and direction due to alternating current AC. AC, the polarity change 50 times in a second. So due to alternating current, direction of magnetic field change. That's it. So we write 2 points for 2 marks. Mobile phone is placed on a charging plate as shown in figure 9.2. So you can see that the iPhone is placed on the coil. The coil is mobile phone is part of separate coil. There is a coil behind the mobile phone. So this is the electromagnetic induction basically. So this is a charging plate, mobile phone. So charging plate act as a primary coil, and the coil in the mobile phone will act as a secondary coil. It's just like a transformer. So the coil in the charging plate and coil in the mobile phone act like a transformer. Okay, explain why there is a current in the secondary coil. Why? Because primary coil is connected with AC, as I discussed. AC. So AC means alternating current. So magnetic field is continuously changing in primary coil as well as in secondary coil. What does it mean? When the primary coil, magnetic field of primary coil will change in the secondary coil, the current will induced in secondary coil. And this is electromagnetic induction basically. Next question. Suggest why a transformer made from a charging plate and phone is not 100% efficient, because there is no iron core there. In the transformer, there is iron core to increase the strength of magnetic field. So some energy transfer to the thermal energy. So there are 1 mark. So you will write energy dissipated in the form of thermal energy. Or you can write as well, there is no iron core. That's why the energy is lost. 1 mark. So 1 point is enough. C part. The mobile phone battery can be recharged using the charging plates at the store of 4.5 times 10 power 4 joules. Joules is the unit of energy. So didn't mention that there is energy, but you can recognize from the unit of energy of when fully recharged. The current in the secondary is, that is IS, with the output voltage. Output means secondary voltage, so VS. Calculate the time taken to fully charge and complete uncharge the battery. So we know that there is energy, there is current. So if we start from the equation of the power, power is equal to energy over time, and energy is equal to power times time. And we know that the electrical power is equal to the product of current, voltage, and time, that is equal to energy. So this is our equation. So what we'll do, we will rearrange according to the time. So make the time as a subject, so that will be equal to energy over current times voltage. So the energy is given 4.5 times 10 power 4. Current is given, that is 0.63. Voltage 12 volt. So we will get 6000. The unit of time is seconds. So 6000 seconds we will get. Next question, calculate the charge passing through the battery in 60 seconds. So we need to find the charge, and we know that the charge represented by Q, and we have a time and we have a current. Sorry, we have a time and we have the current of secondary voltage. We'll use that. So we know that I is equal to Q over T, and Q charge is equal to current multiplied by time. So what was the current? 0.63 in the secondary voltage, and time is 60 seconds. So we will get 38. What is the unit of the charge? That is coulomb. Next question, question 10, second last question. Carbon 14 is a radioactive isotopes of carbon. Carbon 12 is 12 6 is non-radioactive. Explain how and carbon 14 is different carbon 12. So we know that these are the isotopes of the carbon in which mass number, the charge number is same, but mass is different. So what we can write? We can write carbon 14 is heavier. Why? There are more protons, 2 more protons. So carbon 14 is heavier. First, and the second point, you can write carbon 14 have 2 more electrons, sorry, neutrons, and carbon 14 have 2 more neutrons. These differences are enough, or you can write carbon 14 is unstable, or you can write carbon 12 is stable because it's non-radioactive. Every non-radioactive material is stable. So there are 4 differences you can write too. All living organisms contain carbon 12 and carbon 14 atoms. The ratio of carbon 14 to 12 is 1 times 10 power 12. Carbon 14 have half-life 5,700 years. When our organism dies, that is carbon dating, new carbon is absorbed. The amount of carbon 12 in the dead organism remain fixed. Describe how amount of carbon 14 dead because organism decrease with time, because carbon 14 is unstable, as I explained. So each after 5,700 years, carbon 14 decreases to by half, become half. So first of all, 2 marks. So you write carbon 14 is unstable, or you can write it decay with time. And each after is half-life. What is half-life? 5,700 years. Carbon 14 remains half in its atom. So 2 marks, 2 points. Next question. A sample of wood contain carbon 14 to carbon 12. The ratio is 1,4 times 10 power 12. So you focus on 1,4. So you can see that the ratio of carbon 14 is 1. The ratio of carbon 12 is 4. So what does it mean? It means that at the time of the death, carbon 14 is 25% and carbon 12 is 75%. So what you will write, 25% of carbon 14 at the time of the death is still present. So in the tree, or you can say that 75%, according to it, 75% carbon 14 is decayed. Or you can write 25% is left. So what it means? It means that there are two half-lives. 2 times half-life. So one half-life was what? One half-life was 5,700 years. That will be equal to, what was that? 5,700, and it's approximately 11,000 years ago. So the unit is already given, so you will write 11,000 because two half-lives has been passed. Next question. Other radioactive isotopes have different half-lives. Suggest a use of radioactive isotopes with a half-life of 1 hour. Explain why a short half-life is suitable for this. You will write the use of. We always use the short half-life in the medicines, medical imaging, medical diagnosis for like throat, iodine 131. These things we use for human body. So first of all, short half-life is always used as medical tracers in human body. Okay, what is the explanation? So for short half-life, it decays soon, doesn't stay in the human body, doesn't stay in human body, and it decaying fast, and it will be not harmful too much like long half-life. Next question. State the name of the planet that has an orbit closer to the sun than Venus. We know that first one is Mercury, then Venus, then further away from the sun, the Venus. Sorry, it is a first question. Further away. So Mercury, Venus. After Venus, there are 6 more planets: the Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune. So one of them is Earth, Mars, and so on. So you can write any one. State the name of the planet that has an orbit closer to the sun. You know that the Venus is the second one. So first one is Mercury, that is closer to the sun. Venus has an average radius of orbit 1.1 times 10 power 11. We always use the average radius because all the orbits are elliptical, and orbital speed is given, that is 220 Earth days. Calculate the average speed of the Venus. Give me your answer in meters per second. So we know that the orbital speed is always equal to 2 pi r over t. So r represents the distance, t is the total time, pi is, and 2 is constant. 2 times 3.14, r is the distance, we'll use it, divide by. Now what is the time? Time is total Earth days 2220. Days will, there are 24 hours times 60 minutes times 60 seconds. Why? Because we need to give them the answer in meters per second. After calculating this, we'll get the orbital speed, that will be 3.6 times 10 power 4 meters per second. State the relationship between the orbital speed of the planet and their distance from the sun. So there is a last topic in the chapter number 25. The further away from the sun, the slower the orbital speed. So when we go away from the sun or any planet, the speed is decreased. That is the centripetal force. Uh, it is not included in your part, but it is included in the next new syllabus of the IGCSE, that is centripetal force. But when the distance is increase, then speed decreases. Why? Because the Mercury completes its orbit in a few, not few days, in few hours. But the Earth completes its orbit in 24 hours, and the Venus, or you can see that the any orbit, any planet which is further from the Earth, that complete its rotation around the Sun more than 1 day. So when we go further away from the Sun, the speed is decreased. Next question. Comets are balls of ice and dust. Some comets orbit the sun. State how the speed of the comet change at orbit the sun. Explain your answer by using the ideas of conservation of energy. You made the level diagram. We know that if this is the sun and comet
orbit is more elliptical. For example, if this is a comet and if it is orbiting in this direction, you can see that the distance of the comet is far from here. So at this point, the comet have more gravitational potential energy because of height according to the sun. When it will move near to the sun, here the speed will be high. It means when the speed is high, it have the kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy, and minimum potential energy. Here, it will have minimum kinetic energy and maximum potential energy, but the total amount of energy remains conserved. That is the law of conservation of energy. So there are 3 marks. So what you will write: energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. Energy is changing from gravitational potential energy to kinetic energy. So energy cannot be destroyed. Total energy constant, as we know, total energy, or you can write the amount of total energy is constant, or you can write as the radius decrease according to the comet. Uh, Gravitational potential energy also decrease, and kinetic energy increase near to the sun, and so on. That's it. Hope you understood the questions. If you have any question, if you don't understand, do your comments. I will give you an answer. And if you need the online lesson, you can contact on my email. I will drop my email in the description. Have a nice day. Goodbye.